Good evening, ma'am.
Okay, so you already studied physical properties and chemical properties of soil, no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So today we are going to study the biological properties of soil. So what are the importance of biological properties? Any idea? Physical properties mean structure, texture, color, those things comes under physical properties. And chemical means colloidal properties, pH, cation exchange capacity, those things comes under chemical. So what are the things comes under biological property?
Diversity of soil organisms.
Diversity of soil organism. Other thing? Any other answers? So this biological property is important for nutrient cycle, decomposition. Okay, for those things, the biological properties are important. Soil organisms are important in overall quality, fertility, and stability of soil, and soil contains vast number and wide range of organisms. You can observe microorganism, macroorganism, soil flora or soil fauna. Flora means plants and fauna means other organisms. Okay, and a great proportion of these belongs to plant family. General role of soil organisms. Soil organisms act as the primary driving agent of nutrient cycling. So can anyone tell few examples the organisms involved in nutrient cycling? Organism may be a microorganism, macroorganism. In few examples. No,
Microorganism, rhizobium.
I couldn't understand.
Rhizobium bacteria. Night cycle.
Okay, rhizobium fixed nitrogen. Then this will involved in nitrogen nutrient cycle. Okay. Any other? Okay. Physical manipulation, mixing, formation of soil, and its structural stabilization. Okay. Earthworms, those things will affect the structure of the soil. You will study those things in the following slide. And regulating the dynamics of soil organic matter, soil carbon sequestration, and greenhouse gas emission. Other than that, many of biochemical reaction and complex biological process that take place within the soil, enhancing the amount and efficiency of nutrients by vegetation and enhancing plant health. Okay, so these are the diversity of organisms in the soil. Microorganisms, actinomycetes, bacteria, fungi are the example. Then we can classify the flora into micro as well as macro, and as well as we can classify the fauna into micro as well as macro. Okay. Can classify the organism based on different criteria. The first criteria is according to their size. Based on the size, macroorganism, mesoorganism, microorganism. These things are important for your exam. Okay, classify the organism into different criteria. First one is size. So macroorganism means greater than 2 millimeter width. Examples: earthworm, ant, termites, moss, and feeder root. And mesoorganism, microbes, the size range between 0.1 to millimeter width, and microorganism less than 0.1 millimeter. And nematodes, bacteria, cyanobacteria, fungus, comes under microorganism. And the second criteria is according to organism in action. Primary producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. Let's see one by one. The first one is primary producers. Means plants play the principal role as primary producers by combining carbon from atmospheric carbon dioxide with water, and this will produce food. Okay, like photosynthetic procedure. So plants are the major primary producers. And second one, primary consumers, the animal or microfauna that use the energy held in the plant residues. And the next, we can classify this primary consumer into two, herbivorous or detrivorous. Herbivorous means normally dealing with veg, no? Certain soil organisms that eat living plants are called herbivorous, and these are the examples. And detrivorous means the organism that eat dead tissues. Okay. And the third one is secondary consumer. The primary consumers are the food source for the predators or parasites. Primary consumers are the food source for secondary consumer. And the last one is tertiary consumer, mostly the carnivores which play the tertiary consumers role. And third criteria is according to the source of energy. Okay, the first one is autotroph, energy from carbon dioxide or carbonate material. Again, we can classify autotrophs into photoautotrophs, deal with solar energy, and second one, chemoautotrophs, deal with energy released by oxidation of inorganic energy. And second major classification is heterotrophs, obtain their carbon from breakdown of organic materials. Okay, up to this very simple content. So we can classify organism into based on three criteria. First one according to size, second one according to organism in action, and third one according to source of energy. You all have to remember these things. Now I am going to divide your batch into two groups. Okay. First, assign one leader for and three sub-leader for your group. Okay. Then slide number 8 to 22, group number 1. And slide number 23 to 39, group number 2. Okay, you can download this document in LMS. So slide number 8 to 22. Group number 1. Please check the chat box, okay? Height number 23 to 39. So I will divide your batch into 2 rooms, and group number 1, first assign 1 leader and 3 sub-leaders. Same as group number 2 also, group number 2 also assign 1 leader and 3 sub-leaders. Then use the leader can share the slides, okay? And share the notes part, and after 30 minutes each group have to explain the content in your design slides, okay? Yes or no?
Jamsi, can anyone share the screen? Can you? No, Jamsi, I can't. Dharmika? I can't. Jamsi. Okay, Savinga. Who is the leader?
Who is your group leader?
Didn't select now.
Hmm?
Didn't select.
Why? The group already started the discussion. So you can suggest one person, no? Rep.
Okay, ma'am.
Then that leader can suggest other 3 sub-leaders.
Mr. Ma'am. Banu? I can't. Can you? No, why? Jamsika, can you? Okay. Okay, we'll start the discussion. Sub-leaders, you want to select? I can. Okay. Sadanika. Sadanika, can you? Sadanika?
You guys are taking more time than president election. Okay. Quickly find the sub-leaders and start the discussion. Don't waste the time.
Kirunshika? Okay.
And can you?
23.
Shamsi, you can start. I'll support you.
How to do it? Soil flora.
First, we can read and then
discuss. Okay. Roots grow and die in the soil, and they supply much of carbon and energy needed by soil community. Activities of plant roots greatly influence on soil chemical, physical, and biological properties. Living roots physically modify the soil, push through existing cracks and make new openings. Tiny initial channels are increased in size as the root swells and grows. Kenny?
Oh, yes. Shamsi.
What will I do?
We can move to the next slide.
Can anyone read?
I read.
Okay.
By removing moisture from the soil, plant roots bring further physical stress which helps soil aggregate initiation. They constantly release exudates, mucilage, enzyme, as well as dead cells, materials leading to the formation of humus to significant depths in the soil. Root exudates also support a number of microorganisms which help to further stabilize the soil aggregates.
Next.
Rhizosphere, zone of soil immediately surrounding active young root, usually extend about 2 mm out from the root surface. Organic acids are formed at the root surface and hence become effective solvents and solubilize at the plant nutrients, making them readily available from thus stimulate the microflora and the number of microorganisms in the rhizosphere may be as many as 100 times as great as elsewhere in the soil.
Okay.
Next slide.
Soil alga. Most algae are chlorophyll-bearing organisms and like higher plants are capable of performing photosynthesis. They do this, they must live at or very near the surface of the soil. However, a few forms obtain their energy largely from organic matter and live within and below the surface horizon. Soil algae are divided into three groups such as blue, green and diatoms. Both the green and the blue-green algae outnumber of diatoms.
Okay, next. Tanya, can you read?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Blue-green algae growing within leaves of azalea, aquatic fern in paddy fields and fixed nitrogen. Diatoms are often numerous in neural to alkaline well-drained soil. Algae produce substantial amount of organic matter in some fertile soil. Certain algae exerts polysaccharides that have favorable effect on soil application.
Okay, next. Next slide. Saranika.
Yes. Next, we will see about soil fungi. Now, over 690 species of soil fungi has been identified. Fungi belongs to eukaryotic group. These are heterotrophs, depend on living or dead organic matter for both carbon and energy. There are three groups in fungi: yeast, molds, and mushroom fungi. And now we will see about one by one separately. First, molds. It's a filamentous and microscopic to semi-microscopic. It develops in all ranges of soil pH, to acidic to alkaline, especially thrive in acidic surface soils. Example in forest. Second one is mushroom fungi. It is found in moist areas with high organic matter, common in forest and grassland and decomposed woody tissues, lignins. It is important in transforming soil constituents, all type of organic compounds like cellulose, starches, gums, and lignin. Next slide. Next, we will see about activities of fungi. The first one, it decomposes the organic residues, cellulose, starch, hum, and lignin. Molds play major role in humus formation and aggregation stabilization than bacteria. Moreover, fungi function more efficiently than bacteria. Third one, some fungi are predators on soil animals, act as biological control agent in insects and mites. Fourth one, synthesize a wide range of complex organic compounds and antibiotic drugs. Example, penicillin obtained from Penicillium. Fifth one, a few fungi produce chemicals. Mycotoxin, it is a toxic to plants and animals. The last one, some compounds invade the tissues causing plant disease. Example, built root rot. And can you read?
Mycorrhizas, an economically important mutually beneficial association between fungi and the root of the higher plant is called as mycorrhiza. It is a fungus root. There are two class based on their interrelationship between thread-like fungus hyper and the root. First one is entomycorrhiza, second one is endomycorrhiza. Next slide.
Tunja, can you read? Next slide. Tunja. Sugandhika, can you read? Sugandhika.
Yes.
Can you read this slide?
Okay. Ectomycorrhizae group. The hyphae of the fungi penetrate the roots and develop around the cells of the cortex, but do not penetrate these cell walls.
Next. Abhirami. Abhilami? Okay.
Yes. Endomycorrhiza grow, the most important of which are called vascular avascular mycorrhiza, penetrates the root cell walls, enter the root cells, forms hypermasses within the cell. Most common and most widespread and found in the roots of most agronomic and fruit crop.
Next.
In each case, the fungi secreted appropriate enzymes which permit the penetration of the plant to which fungus is adapted. The root fungus association is of mutual benefit to the host plant and the fungi. The growth of mycorrhiza infected plants is superior to that of Juni-infected plants, especially on low fertility soils.
Okay, next.
Next, actin. Next, we want to see the bacteria. Bacteria are single-celled, simplest and smallest form of life forms. Rapid reproduction and response to the environment changes. The bacteria has in variable shapes. There are round, spiral, and rod-like shapes. The rod-shaped organisms seem to predominate. May be autotrophic or heterotrophic. In soil, most are heterotrophic. The heterotrophic means get the energy and carbon from the organic matter. Autotrophic bacteria are not diverse as heterotrophic in the soil. Next slide. Importance of the bacteria. Participate vigorously in the all of the organic transactions in the soil, perform biochemical oxidation and reduction reactions that have significant effect plant nutrients. Nitrifications, the equation is NH4 plus, that is stable form, that is convert to the nitrate form, that is more stable. Then sulfur oxidation, that is sulfur converted into the sulfate form. Also bacterial oxidation and reduction of organic ions such as Fe2 plus, Mn2 plus not only
influence the availability of elements, but also helps to determine the soil color. Next slide. Biological nitrification, nitrogen fixation. Some bacteria have the ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen with the hydrogen to form ammonia, which is then incorporated into organic nitrogen compounds usable by plants such as rhizobia. The nitrogen fixing bacteria associated with legume roots, Anabina, nostoc, etc.
Last slide. The first three slides, I will explain the first three slides. Okay. Soil fauna. Soil fauna means the animals which are living in soil. These helps in soil, improving the soil's characteristics such as soil engineering. Mainly helps in soil engineering. Other than that, it initiates the breakdown of dead plants and animals. That means it initiates the decomposition. And next one, it also largely involves in ingestion and soil forming process. And by burrowing, those animals burrowing. As the results of burrowing, it forms spores, and which is by pores is formed by burrowing, which helps the water and air movement. And as the animals move from moving, what happens is the soil layers get mixes, and through the movement, it will also increase the aggregates in soil. And soil fauna can be divided into two types: macro and micro. Micro, examples for micro are nematodes, protozoas, and rotifers. Next one, macros, example, earthworm, insects, arthropods, and rotundites. Now let's see about the earthworms. Earthworm is a very important soil macro animal. The main thing it do means it ingests the organic matters, debris, and microorganisms in the soil. And it doesn't eat any living plants such as roots, but it acts as a pest for the plants. And it also creates pores as it moves within the soil. It creates pores. As the pores increases, it improves the soil aeration, drainage, and WHC, water holding capacity. Next, we'll see about the influence of the earthworm, how the earthworm influences the soil fertility and the productivity. First, the earthworms enhance the soil productivity or fertility by changing its physical and chemical conditions, mainly in the surface soil between 15 to 25 centimeter in soil, and it forms a special product which is called as cast. Earthworm's cast means first earthworm ingests the debris or soil debris, soil organic materials, and which is digested by the enzymes which is present in the earthworm's gut. As a result, it forms a globular soil aggregates, which is called as cust. And these cust have high bacteria, organic matters, and high available nutrients compared to the soil. And it forms a stability in aggregates in the soil. Next, beneficial physical, how it affects the physical properties of the soil. First one, as these earthworms, when they are moving, they eat the things which are found in its way, which creates an extensive system of burrowing. As a result, as it increases the pore space, as a result, increasing in porosity, it results high aeration and drainage. As the porosity increases, the compaction is also decreased. And during heavy rain seasons, what happens means these earthworms start to burrow more. As the result, the porosity increases, which cause more infiltration of water. More infiltration water occurs means it is important, which will cause water conservation, and it also prevents the soil erosion. And it increases the both size and the stability of the soil aggregates. The earthworms increase the size and the stability of the soil aggregates, which facilitates the fungal hyphae. And as the fungal hyphae is improved, it helps to bind the soil particles into stable aggregates. Kai Varman?
Okay. According to that slide, this is increase nutrition availability as the earthworm ingests detritus, something waste, and soil organic matter with low nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur concentration. They assimilate part of these materials into own body tissues. Consequently, the earthworm tissue contain a high concentration of the nutrition. Then, if the earthworm is die and decay, that time the plant take that nutrition, absorbs the nutrients when they available. Roots growing down through earthworm burrows find a rich source of nutrition in case burrow lining materials. And surface residues into the soil reduce the loss of the nutrition. These are the increased nutrition availability. Next slide. In earthworm, activities are affecting in several ways. First is it is preferred to well aerated moist environment, and it most abundantly in the medium texture in the upland soil. In the upland soil, it's abundantly in the medium texture. They must have an organic matter as a source of food, and they grow best of fresh, undecomposed organic matter. They found via farm manures in like compost, we can found the earthworm in the earthworm activity, and plant residues have been added to the soil. In here, in this point, described as pH, it tolerant to a low pH, but the most pH based pH is 5.5 to 8.5, then more sensitivity to excess salinity. That means the salt content. In the lots of supply of calcium, that means abundant supply of calcium in due to the temperature changes. That means the soil temperature changes, the distribution of the earthworms affected. Predators are the that's animals that decrease the amount of the earthworm. Then plenty of the tillage conditions, mulch on the soil surface. That time the ideal for earthworm activity.
Now let's look at the ant and termites, also known as white ants. And ants are less distributed and more local influence on soils. and they are responsible to break down the woody materials, and the nest formed by ants goes to loose wool of the soil. Thereby, they contribute to create pores in the soil, which results to improve the soil aeration, to increase the water infiltration, and modify the soil pH. The third major earth-moving group of invertebrates are termites, and they're known as social animals. They live in very complex nests, passages, and hampers, and they are responsible to break down the organic matter in or at the soil surface. And termites build extensive and large mounds up to 6 meter in height and 6 meter in deep, and they are called as termite mounds. Now, let's talk about the effects of termites on the soil productivity. While they are building the mounds, they transport the soil from lower layers to the surface, and they use plant residues as food. So while building these mounds, they mix the soil with these plant residues, and they don't generally have a beneficial effect on soil productivity, but the digestive process aided by the microorganisms in their gut are generally more efficient than the earthworms. And termites mix plant residues relatively in the localized area of the nest. They have both positive effects and negative effects on the current land use. And the positive effects are they can accelerate the decay of the dead trees and grasses. The negative effects are they disturb the crop production by the rapid development of their nest and mounds. And termites may emit large quantities of methane and carbon dioxide, which considered as greenhouse gases.
Soil microfauna, they are the minute animals which can't be, those are invisible to the naked eye. So the first one is the nematodes, under that threadworms, and or else we are known as them as eelworms. So they are the examples for the soil microfauna, nematodes. So relatively there are a large number and they are nearly in all soil types, and mostly they are in sandy soils. We can see a high nematode population, which means they are having abundant pores, which means more pores in these sandy soil types. So they can be beneficial and also they can be harmful for the crops. That means detrimental to the crops. So they are saprophytic means obtaining food by observing dissolved organic material. So by that they may be beneficial to the crops as well. So most are predators for the other nematodes, fungi, bacteria, algae, and insect larvae. So they can be used as biological control agents. So they are stimulating the various nutrition cycles, and by that they are releasing plant available nutrition to the soil. So that's also a benefit. So some nematodes, they can be infest the roots of plants. So such as soybeans, fruit trees, and solanaceae crops such as tomatoes, brinjals. So these wounds made by nematodes are known as the root knots. They are similar to the root nodules, but root nodules are making up by the bacteria that is beneficial to the plant, but this root knot is a disease to the plant root. Next one is the Protosovas. They are the simplest form of animal life. So under the animal kingdom, Protista is the simplest form. So they are single-celled, and but they are larger than the bacteria. And distinctly higher organization includes amoeba. So they are the pseudopods and ciliates and flagellates. Those are the transportation forms of the Protosovas, and generally they can
thrive, which means develop well in moist, well-drained soils, and are most numerous in surface horizon. So they are very active around the plant roots, and most soil-inhibiting protozoa prey upon soil bacteria. They can be influence the population of the microflora by hasten, which means the fasting the turnover of readily available nutrition.
Second group leader, so you can stop the sharing. Second group leader, you can share the list.
Soil flora. Soil flora. Under the soil flora, we studied many things. In here, higher plant roots. Roots grow and die in the soil, and they can supply more carbon to the soil. And activities of plant roots influence the soil properties, physical properties, biological and chemical properties. Living roots physically modify the soil, push through existing cracks and make new opening. Tiny initial channels are increased in size as the roots swells and grows. Then next. By removing moisture from the soil, plant roots bring further physical stress. This stress help soil aggregate initiation. They constantly release exodes, mucilage, enzymes as well, dead cells, materials, leading to the formation of humus to significant depth in the soil. Root exudates also support a number of microorganisms which help to further stabilize the soil aggregates. Then, rhizophyre. Zone of soil immediately surrounding active young roots usually extend about 2 mm out from the root surface. Organic acid are formed at the root surface and become effective solvent, solubilize the plant nutrients, making them readily available form. Thus stimulate the microflora, and the number of microorganisms in the rhizosphere may be as many 100 times as great as elsewhere in the soil. Next, Tanya.
Now let's see about the soil algae. So these algae mostly they contains the chlorophyll. So the plants also contains the chlorophyll. So the plants they have the ability to do the photosynthesis. Same like that, the algae also have the ability to do the photosynthesis. So to do that, they must have to live near the surface of the soil, and they will form and obtain the energy from the organic matter, and also to get the energy, they have to live within the and below the surface horizon. We know the horizons in the A, B, C, D, same like that. There are several horizons. So in that horizon, it should live. And also we can divide the algae into three main groups: blue, green, and the diatoms. So the blue, green, and the green are having less number than the diatoms. The diatom is having the higher number among these. And if you look into the blue-green algae, that will grow with the azolla. Azolla is a supplement which can used in the animal feed. So that is also fix the nitrogen. And these diatoms that are often numerous, and they neutral to alkaline, and they will drain the soil. So these algae that produce the substantial amount of the organic matter, so they make the soil more fertile. And also these algae, they will exert the polysaccharides, which is favorable to make the soil aggregation. It means that make the soil more granular, so that will help for the plant growth.
Next, we will see about soil fungi. Over 690 species of soil fungi has been identified. It belongs to eukaryotes group, and fungi group are heterotrophs. It depends on living or dead organic matter for both carbon and energy. We can divide into three groups. They are yeast, molds, and mushroom fungi. If we see about molds, it is a filamentous and microscopic to semi-microscopic. It develops in all ranges of soil pH, from acidic to alkaline. Especially, it thrives in the acidic surface soils. Example, in forest. Next, mushroom fungi. It found in moist areas with high organic matter. It is common in forest and grasslands and decompose woody tissues, which contain lignins. And it is important in transforming soil constituents, all type of organic compounds, cellulose, starches, gums, and lignin. Next slide. And next we will see about activities of fungi. It decomposes the organic residues, cellulose, starch, gum, and lignin. Second, molds play a major role in humus formation and aggregation stabilization than bacteria. Moreover, fungi function more efficiently than bacteria. Third one, some fungi are predators on soil animals. They act as biological control agent in insects and mites. It synthesizes a wide range of complex organic compounds and antibiotic drugs. Example, penicillin. It is obtained from Penicillium. Fifth one, a few fungi produce chemicals, mycotoxin. It is toxic to plants and animals. The last one, some compounds invade the tissues, causing plant diseases. Example, wilt, root rot. Next,
mycorrhiza. It is a mutual beneficial association between fungi and the root of the higher plant. It is economically important one, and it is also called as fungus root. There are two types based on the interrelationship between the thread-like fungus and the root. First one is ectomycorrhiza. Second one is endomycorrhiza. First, ectomycorrhiza. It is the hyphae of the fungi penetrate the root and develop around the cells of the cortex, but they didn't penetrate into the cell wall. Second one is the endomycorrhiza. It is very important, and they are called as vesicular abuscular mycorrhiza. They penetrate the root cells and enter the root cell and form the hyphal masses within the cell. It is most common and widespread and found in the root of the most agronomic and fruit crops. In every case, the fungus secretes the appropriate enzyme which permit the penetrate of the plant to which fungus is adapted. This fungus-root association is beneficial to both host plant and the fungus. The growth of mycorrhiza infected is superior to that uninfected plant, especially in the low fertile soil.
Next, Microfauna association. Through this, we understand symbiotic relationship between plant root and fungi. Through this, we get some benefits. First one is increases availability of essential nutrients to plants, including phosphorus, Saturn, Cu, magnesium, calcium, Fe, and manganese. Then improve the soil aggregate stability due to the binding actions of hyphae and glomalin and mycorrhizae secreted chemical. Then enhance the ability to take up nutrients that are relatively immobile and low concentration. Then reduce water stress during the drought, reduce severity of some soil-borne diseases in plant, then protect the plant from excessive uptake of salts and toxic metals in saline and acidic soil. then Actinomycetes. These are the organisms which have filaments and similar to moles, but mycelium is the smaller than fungal hyphae. These are the similar to bacteria in that they are unicellular and same diameter. They grow best in moist but they will aerated soil condition. However, during drought time, they remain active to a degree not exhibited by bacteria or fungi. They live more suitable pHs 6 to 7.5 near neutral. They have many species produce antibiotic compound, for example, actinomycin and neomycin. They able to fix ATM into nitrogen to NH4 plus.
Then we can see the bacteria. Bacteria are the single-celled and simplest and smallest form of the life form. Bacteria are respond to the environmental changes and they are rapid reproduction organism. Bacteria are in the variable shapes. They are round, spiral, and rod-like. Rod-shaped organisms seem to predominate. Maybe autotrophic or heterotrophic. In soils, most are heterotrophics. Heterotrophics mean get the energy and carbon from the organic matter. Autotrophic mean get the energy from the sunlight. Autotrophic bacteria are not diverse as heterotrophic in the soil. Next slide. The importance of the bacteria participate vigorously in the all of the organism transaction in the soil, perform biochemical oxidation and reduction reaction that have significant effect plant nutrient. Under the nitrification reaction, the ammonium ion is converted into the nitrate ion. Ammonium ion is the stable form, but the nitrate ion is more stable form. Then sulfur oxidation in the reaction, the sulfur is converted into the sulfate form. Also, bacteria oxidation and reduction of the inorganic ions such as Fe2 plus and Mn2 plus. Not only that is influence the ability of the elements, but also help to the determination of the soil color. Next slide. In the biological nitrogen fixation, some bacteria are having the ability to fix the atmospheric nitrogen with hydrogen to form the ammonia, which is then incorporate into organic nitrogen compound usable by plants. In the nitrogen fixation bacteria associated with the legume roots, example for the nitrogen fixation bacteria are Rhizobia and Anabina nostoc, also the nitrogen fixation bacteria.
Okay, so classification of organism. Anyone? How we can classify?
Micro.
Okay, okay. Major classification based on what?
Size.
Okay.
According to the action.
Okay. So, what are the disadvantages of termites? Termites have advantages and as well as disadvantages.
They disturb the crop production by their rapid growth.
Okay. Any other? Hayavarna? Hayavarna?
Yes.
So termites.
Greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases. Products.
Complete the sentence.
global production of the greenhouse gases.
Okay. Which gas? Methane.
Methane.
Then, what are the advantages of earthworm? You can expect these questions for your final, okay? Advantages of earthworm.
When the earthworms die or decay, the plants absorb the nutrition from the soil. Assimilate the nutrition, phosphorus, sulfur into the own body tissues.
Is it a pest or not?
Not pest.
Okay. Then what about crust formation? Have you heard about vermicompost?
Just the compost make as by earthworm, microbial activity.
Then what are the benefits of mycorrhizal association? Any others?
Increase the nutrients.
I couldn't hear your voice.
Increase the soil nutrients through the soil acidic stability.
So, difference between entomycorrhiza and ectomycorrhiza?
In Ectomycorrhiza, the fungi penetrate the root and development of the cells. In the Endomycorrhiza, penetrate roots and cells, but Ectomycorrhiza but not penetrate in the cell wall.
Okay, good. So we'll continue the rest in the next class. Thank you.